We, as you know, sort of mostly focus our interviews fairly narrowly into experiential teams, into event planners, things like that. Um, but it is great to widen that. It's great to now have some conversations with sister teams within organizations and get more of a sort of a boots on the ground feel for your work. So treating me and the audience as lay people, could you give us a little bit of insight into creative ops?
The metaphor I'll often use with folks is in a restaurant. So if you worked in restaurants, and many of us have, they've got back of house and front of house. And so the back of house, those where all the chefs are busy working in the kitchen. In the front of house, you have, the servers, the bartenders, the host and hostesses, and the managers. And I'd say the designers, they're the chefs. They're the ones, designing everything, all the output that's happening. Whereas the front of house, that restaurant manager, that person is sort of the creative operator, the creative operations. That's where it lies, in the front of house. That is the things that most people see. The people that are faces of the orgs, and they're worrying about the people, the processes, the tools, the outcomes. Of course, are things on budget? Are things getting done? Are the right things getting done on time? And making sure that sort of everybody's updated and sort of on the same page, right, along the way.
What gives you satisfaction, job satisfaction, or what can, on the flip side, what can put a stick in your spokes?
The role that I fill and that my project management operations team fills is I think, and I think where we personally thrive and find our passion and our meaning is creating an ecosystem where designers are free to design. And that ecosystem has a lot of moving parts. But if we are constantly iterating upon those systems that work and that ecosystem that thrives, I think we're all feeling, for myself, I feel really good about my day. I find meaning in my work. I find joy in that as well. It is that real satisfaction of seeing other people thrive and find success. I think when we're really thriving too, when we are iterating on those systems, those processes, those tools, is when we find patterns. And we need to be on the constant lookout for patterns. So if one request comes in for us to build out a booth design, let's say, for something happening in Brazil, cool, do that. And a week later, another request comes in for a booth design for something happening in Paris. Okay, we're like, wait a second. Those are pretty similar. We need to see the forest for the trees. So that's a main part of our job, I would say. Look for those patterns that not everybody knows are happening, because I say this often to my team too, which is not everybody speaks to everybody, but everybody speaks to us. And it's our both our duty, our responsibility, but also our right to force those patterns into the business, because it's at the benefit of all, I would say, if we're able to do that. The stick in the spoke, I think it's when our stakeholders, our partners, the folks we work with, don't see the forest for the trees. So, they might have something coming up that they're going to need a creative aspect to in a couple weeks or a couple months. And they're like, yeah, it's fine. I'll push this off. I'll let them know I'll let them know when I need it. And it's putting yourself in someone else's shoes and being like, well, how much time would we possibly need for that? I wonder what else they're doing. My team, like our brand and creative team at DocuSign, is about 20 people. All of DocuSign is about 8,000 people. So we're a very small team servicing a very large team. And we have to have a lot of rigor in how we plan our backlog and how we plan our current capacity and our future roadmap. And we're constantly iterating on that too, to make it better and better and better. But we're just a small team servicing a large enterprise across the world. So with lack of empathy, I think, is maybe the stick in the smoke that gets us.
Your small but mighty team are experts in finding efficiencies and improving efficiencies. Where do you draw your inspiration? Where do you skill up? What conversations do the team have to improve practice?
We're constantly reading books and exposing ourselves to things like this, Killian, a podcast with you and listening to the different folks that you speak to and trying to find some insights and intelligence out of those. We attend a lot of the virtual webinars and conferences as well. We're all remote, the whole team, more or less. So it's tough for us to all just like walk into a conference together in LA, for example. So we try and attend those, and we're really good, I think, at sharing out with each other. So we have our different disciplines in the brand and creative work. We have project managers, we have operators, brand designers, web designers, strategists. So a team of 20, we still have a lot of different disciplines. And we try and bring all those different areas of focus or subject matter expertise back into the, the headquarters, so to say, so we can all be exposed as much as possible.
DocuSign went through a very comprehensive rebrand in a tight turnaround of 5 months, if I'm correct. Can you give us a little window into the impetus for that rebrand and the means by which you developed your roadmap?
You're right. It was a full company rebrand from top to bottom, bottom to top in a 5-month span. And we did it in-house as well. So all of that was really fun, really exciting, really fast, and sort of like almost like a sort of a career moment for a lot of folks, myself included. I've never been through anything like that before. So that was really, really cool to be part of. And I think the impetus for it, that was your initial question, was it had been about a little over 5 years, I think, at that point, since we had gone through a rebrand. We were sort of reimagining what DocuSign should be or would be for the world. So we invented e-signature 25 years ago, and now we are e-signature, right? But we are moving, and we have moved into intelligent agreement management, and so that was happening. That shift from e-signature to sort of intelligent agreement platform. And so because of that, we had this beautiful wave of energy and forward motion and a clear roadmap. So we rode that wave really and sort of got in front of it. Our old branding too was getting a little bit dated, or folks were copying or emulating what we were doing. So we went ahead and put that all together. And the way in which I think we did it, we used a couple of really important things to get it done. I think there was like 3 big things. One, we had that executive buy-in because of the replatforming and the repositioning of DocuSign across the world. We had our largest event, Momentum, that we do once a year. We had that coming up. That was going to be the announcement of our new platform, our new direction. So those 2 things were happening. And you know this, and your audience knows this. You can't move the date of an event of that size. It's our flagship event. It's happening, and then everything else has to happen leading up to that. There's just no question. There's no like, let's push that a week or 2. That's not how that works, right? So having that very concrete due date was a wonderful restraint for us.
Pressure makes diamonds, right? And cauldron moments that can really galvanize a team, right? Bring it together and kind of create bonds sometimes that last well beyond the rebound itself.
One of the big lessons we learned is treat the launch as the starting point. So, you get to that moment at Momentum in 2024 when we relaunched ourselves, basically, not just the brand, we relaunched ourselves as a company. And everybody's like, whew, that was crazy. And then the next day we got right back to work, because once you launch the thing, you need to care for it. You need to iterate upon it. You need to go find the things in the corners or the skeletons in the closet that like didn't quite make it into the prioritization. You should go out there and audit that. Like, hey, there's an old logo floating around out there. We should go take care of that. And that's still going on today. So treating the launch as a start point was a real lesson learned for us.
You've got a Slack coming up at Canva Create, which I'm excited to be a fan in the audience for. Do you want to give us a little window into what you're going to discuss?
It's myself and a couple of folks, Lynn from eXp Realty and Adam from Twilio. And we're going to sort of talk about how we have integrated Canva into our creative operations workflows and processes, and how we've made that a sort of a central tool in how we get stuff done. And what's cool is the 3 of us, I think, are sort of doing it similarly, but at different scales, at different times, for different needs as well. And there's a lot of really cool things that you can do with Canva. Like, I think one of the most important things that we did is we went to where people are. So when we started talking with Canva, they ran a report in their system. They said, hey, by the way, you have like hundreds and hundreds of people with your domain, so @DocuSign.com email address, in Canva already. We should probably bundle them all together and have some control over that. So we did that. Got almost 1,000 people now in Canva that we're putting a lot of our sort of production design type workflow through. We've reduced our designers' effort and time for those types of things by, I'd say, almost 75%. And now they're free to design.